Hey, good morning, LU. How's everybody doing on Tuesday morning, February 18th? That's right, it's Tuesday. Even though it's the first day of the week, it is a Tuesday, which is always kind of an odd thing when you have a Monday holiday. Hey, and I thought you might want to learn a little bit more about our Monday holiday, which was President's Day. So I found this little blurb and I thought it was actually pretty interesting. And there's quite a few things in there actually that I didn't know. So here's the little blurb I found. It's on the right-hand side of the screen. President's Day in the United States, which is always the third Monday in February, was popularly recognized as honoring George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. The origin of President's Day lies in the 1880s when the birthday of Washington was first celebrated as a federal holiday because he was our first president. In 1968, Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Bill. It has nothing to do with the clothes that we wear. It's about uniformity, getting things in line. That moved a number of federal holidays to Mondays. The change was designed to schedule certain holidays so that workers had a number of long weekends throughout the course of the year. Isn't that nice? Kind of like the one that we just had. During the debate on the bill, it was proposed that Washington's birthday be renamed quote unquote President's Day to honor the birthday of both Washington, whose birthday is on February 22nd, and Abraham Lincoln, whose birthday was on February 12th. After the bill went into effect in 1971, however, President's Day became commonly accepted name due in part to retailers. Do you know what retailers are? Like stores, people that sell things, because they use that name to promote sales and the holiday's proximity to Lincoln's birthday as well. So those President's Day sales that you see at many stores, that in part helped kind of shape it away from Washington's birthday or Lincoln's birthday and calling it President's Day. So really, we celebrate that midline between Washington and Lincoln, two of probably the more popular, favoritist, most beloved, I don't know, most well-liked presidents throughout the course of history. Just interesting tidbit I thought I'd share. Hey, lunchtime, we got cheese sticks, and I know that is a favorite of LU. Continuing our theme of looking at Black History and Black History Month during Black History Month. Thought I'd introduce you to a gentleman named Thurgood Marshall and the Brown versus the Board of Education decision that impacted so many of us and has impacted so many of us in schools. I hope you enjoy this. Someday I will figure out how to hit play right on a YouTube. Here we go now.
Thurgood Marshall didn't look like a revolutionary. He wore double-breasted suits and was mocked for his light skin and wavy hair. But before Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X rose to prominence, it was Marshall who had a gigantic impact on race relations by helping to end legal segregation in America in the landmark Supreme Court case Brown versus Board of Education. Marshall was born in 1908 in Baltimore, where his family had stood up against racism for generations. In those days, segregation was the law of the land. In 1896, the Supreme Court had decided in Plessy versus Ferguson that schools and facilities for whites and blacks could be separate but equal. Marshall decided to become a lawyer because, in his words, the lawyer was there to bear the brunt of getting rid of segregation. After graduating from Howard University School of Law, Marshall took a trip to the South to see the effects of separate but equal firsthand. By 1938, he was a staff lawyer for the NAACP in New York and began crafting lawsuits that could chip away at segregation. The hardest part was recruiting plaintiffs. Many black parents were afraid of losing their jobs or of exposing their families to violence. But in 1951, 13 parents in Topeka, Kansas, led by an assistant pastor named Oliver Brown, put their names on an NAACP lawsuit in federal court. Marshall lost the Kansas case and another one in South Carolina. But in 1953, the U.S. Supreme Court announced that it would take on his appeal, not just to those cases, but to 5 separate cases that challenged segregation. The combined cases became known as Brown versus Board of Education. On May 17, 1954, the court's decision came down.
Shortly after noon, Earl Warren, the Chief Justice of the United States, began to read a unanimous opinion of the Supreme Court. Ruling in 5 cases in which 5 Negro children sought the right to go to the same schools as white children, the court said, separate educational facilities are inherently unequal.
Everyone knew the unanimous 9-0 decision would bring enormous change, especially Marshall himself.
We do believe that this decision in itself will encourage the people to take further steps without litigation in many areas.
Further steps were taken in later years, following in the wake of Marshall's success. In Little Rock, Arkansas, at the University of Alabama, and in Boston. Integration wasn't easy, and 25 years after the Brown decision, Topeka, Kansas was still segregated.
Even today, the other schools here are not fully integrated, primarily because of housing patterns. Most black people live in one part of town, whites in another, so many neighborhood schools are largely segregated.
But Thurgood Marshall, by that time a Supreme Court justice himself, never stopped believing that using the law to overturn segregation was the way to bring racial justice to America.
Thurgood Marshall, amazing man. Brown versus the Board of Education, maybe one of the biggest, if not the biggest, landmark decision by the Supreme Court that has impacted and continues to impact education all across the United States. So now you have a little bit of history about who the lead lawyer was in that case and the case itself. Isn't it interesting to kind of learn a little bit about it too? He lost twice to win the third time, which then becomes the law of the land because it went through the Supreme Court. That's really amazing. I don't know many people that would have the fortitude to lose twice, but to continue because it's the right thing to do and then win in the end. That's a pretty amazing fact, and that's a pretty amazing feat. Thank you, Thurgood Marshall, for doing that. We know that our school is blessed as a result of that because separate but equal doesn't just include race lines. It includes all different kinds of abilities. And LU, we are better for everyone being a part of our school. All right, I'll step off my soapbox for now. Hey, have a great day. Super happy to have you back. Love the 4-day weekend, but love being at school just as much. As I see you out there in the hallways, as always, need some jokes. It's been a minute since we've had some jokes. Maybe we need a couple jokes this week, so we'll try and work our way through that. Also, knuckles, hellos, high fives, handshakes. I love them. And just in general, would love to see you do something kind this week and throw some points at your house. We do have a special house challenge coming tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. All right, LU, at this time, if you would rise, remove your hats, we'll honor America with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we will see you out there in the hall. Have a great day. Bye-bye.